So my 2015-2016 Pro Tour season didn't start out great. At Pro Tour Battle for Zendikar, none of us believed Matt Nass. We didn't want to play his Collected Company, Rally Ancestors deck, and played just like Jeskai Mentor deck. Did poorly, which had capped off like a long string of not finishing well at the Pro Tours. But for Pro Tour for the Gatewatch, we tested with Team Face to Face, and they had this busted Eldrazi deck. This is the deck that got Eldrazi Temple banned, or rather Ayavugan banned, and the fact that you can just cast turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer and just, turn 3 Reality Smasher and just crush your opponents. Like after the first 2 rounds of Constructed, we all come back and we've all won our matches. So it was just like, we just had this deck, which doesn't happen very often. It's like probably one of the top 2 or 3 decks I've ever had. And, we had multiple people, and 3 of us in the top 8. Ended up losing the semis to JC Tai, who ended up winning the tournament. And then I go to Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad and play a Collected Company deck this time, very, very wisely. Black-green, like Cryptolith Rights, Aristocrats. This deck was pretty fun to play, and someone ended up making top 8 there. My companies didn't miss very often. I got to Nantuko, husked people out pretty well. Got dispatched by Shota Yasuoka pretty quickly. Not as fast as it should have been. Coverage actually asked us to play slower, which is, I think, the first time a pair of players has gotten that request, because both Shota and I are just like, and they like that. We were specifically asked to play slower and not take shortcuts, because we also have this thing where like he'll be like, just like show me 2 cards, I know what he's going to do, and I just scoop my cards, and like vice versa. So, we ran through all the motions, and he dispatched me very easily. And then we go to Pro Tour Eldritch Moon, and once again, it looked like it was time to collect some companies. I should have played it at all the standard Pro Tours that year.
Does this lock him up for top 8?
We believe so.
Oh my God, that's insane.
3 consecutive Pro Tour top 8s.
I ended up playing Bant Company. Our big innovation was to go up to 26 lands. Matt Nass at one point said our tech was Fortified Village, which is just like a slightly better mana base, but ended up making top 8 there also. Lost to Owen Turtenwald in a very fun match, actually. I enjoyed that match quite a bit, despite not choosing that result for myself. And, that was a good season. I top 8 at 3 Pro Tours. Yeah, the last time someone did it was Finkel, appropriately enough, the best player of all time, 18 years ago or something like that. So I just felt lucky. I felt happy that I was able to do that, but it's like a combination of like having a busted deck at one of them, the Eldrazi deck, having just a good deck in the black-green deck, and just a good deck in the company decks, and catching the right lucky breaks. I think playing pretty well, and just overall like having all the cards line up right, which certainly does not always happen. Then actually you and I talked about me taking the next year off of playing and going to the booth, doing full-time coverage. It's a decision I'm happy with still. Like I'm not gonna say it wasn't weird at like Pro Tour Kaladesh. That was the first Pro Tour to like see Draft 1, everyone cracking their packs for Draft 1, and just me not doing that. That it had been, the last time I missed a Pro Tour was in like 2006. So it had been like 10 years since I had not played in a Pro Tour. And it was like, it was a little very different. And certainly when watching people play some of the time, it made me really want to play. So yeah, the finals of PT Kaladesh, Carlos Romao against Shota Yasuoka, both playing Gearhulk decks like Jeskai versus Grixis, where like a game come down to decking. Natural decking, not like anyone was using a card to mill their opponent. And those are the kind of games where you have to know exactly how your threats line up to their answers, and sequence everything right, make sure you get max value out of your like counter spells that make them pay mana, all that sort of stuff. I really love that sort of thing. And that match I remember being like, wow, that looks pretty fun. William Jensen play against Sam Black at Worlds, where mid-combat William cast multiple fiery cannonades to trigger the Bellowing Aegisaur he had stolen from Sam multiple times, then lightning striked his Bellowing Aegisaur. It ended up being all his creatures got +3/+3, the 2 cannonades wiped out a bunch of creatures. It was a combat step, it was like picture-in-picture, because we were watching it while we were waiting for Josh Utter-Leighton against Seth Manfield, and that combat stack took about as long as their game 3, because they just had like a really fast game 3. We could see it in the corner getting played out, but we were not moving. We were watching that whole match, and that was really awesome. As happy as I was to do coverage, and I really do enjoy it. I mean, depending on how things go, I may be back in the booth, on Sunday here at this Pro Tour. But I'm glad to get back to playing. I'm glad that I'm going to be competing again. I'm really happy with my team. Hard not to be. I'm coming back as the captain of Team Channel Fireball. They would still have me. We've got myself, Josh Utter-Leighton, Ben Stark, Paulo Vitor Domaderosa, Mike Sigrist, and Martin Yuza. So it's a team has been put up many times with 5 Hall of Famers and Mike Sigrist. Though Sigrist is still awesome. He prefers least accomplished and not worst. Because I'm not going to say who, but someone who spends a lot of time at the news desk, frequently has said that, and imagine Mike Sirgus being your worst player, and Sirgus is like, least accomplished. So I think our team is great. I'm not going to mince words, but I also think that the other teams, some are probably hungrier than us, and some are, probably really putting their noses to the grindstone. I've been practicing. I think I'm going to give myself a good shot, like I said, but do I think I'm in peak form? No, I think it would probably be a little arrogant to say that I'm just like as good as the minute I walked away. I will say that I've played a lot of Magic this year. It's just not been with the same goals as before. Like, I've done a lot of streaming. I've played a lot of different formats. I still really enjoy Magic. I just, this is the first time I cast a tune with Ether when we were testing for this PT. Like, I just haven't played this standard. Like, I multiple standards removed because when I've decided what I want to play without the goal of preparing for a tournament, it has been like Vintage, it has been Cube Draft, it has been Innistrad Draft when it's back, that sort of thing. And so even though I've been playing a lot, so I think like my in-game decision-making skills are good, my knowledge of the constructed metagame maybe has waned some. Win or lose, I would like to play good games of Magic.